Public prayer was first banned in government schools in the early 1960s. You didn't think the left would stop there, did you? Well, today, the basic expression of the Christian faith is being increasingly criticized. Showing their intolerance, some on the left even deny our right to pray anywhere outside our home or church. A few cases in point today. A high school football coach, Vice President Mike Pence, and pro-life students peacefully praying outside an abortion clinic. I wonder why those on the left don't deny or mock Muslims for praying in public. I think you already know the answer. Christians are easy targets for the bullies. I'm David Fiorazzo, and this is Christ and Culture. Let's start with Coach Joe Kennedy, a former U.S. Marine of 20 years and now a former high school football coach in the state of Washington. He lost another court battle last week in the wake of his being fired in 2015. Remember why he was fired? For publicly praying after football games and then allowing high school players to join him. The key word here is voluntary. Kennedy's attorney, Mike Berry with First Liberty Institute, said this case is about more than one football coach. It's about the rights of all believers and public employees across the country. The Supreme Court decided not to reverse the decision by the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that favored the Bremerton School District that fired Kennedy for kneeling on the 50-yard line after football games and silently praying. Another key word, silently. Players eventually joined Coach Kennedy, and even some on the opposing teams. But the public school powers that be didn't like that, so here we are today. Four Supreme Court justices say that a review of the case may be necessary in the future. We'll see what happens. Next, you may have seen an official White House photo that was sent out showing Vice President Mike Pence and the Coronavirus Task Force opening a meeting with heads bowed in prayer. Well, as you would expect, it didn't take leftists long to mock prayer, the Christian faith, and the Trump administration. Thomas Williams, a writer for New York Magazine and Harper's Magazine, tweeted, "Mike Pence and his coronavirus emergency team praying for a solution. We are so screwed." Okay, so the sentiment of the left is prayer is just a waste of time. Just take action. You might appreciate the response of Princeton professor Robert George, who said, quote, "I don't know anything about Mr. Williams, but this photograph and his comment perfectly illustrate the profound division in our culture. It's obvious to some of us that one of the things you do in a crisis is pray. It's obvious to others that praying is worse than foolish. I appreciate Mr. Williams' candor, and I don't condemn him for it. He says what a great many of his fellow secular progressives think, but are careful not to say out loud. It's much better for all of us if we are clear on where we stand," end quote. Regarding the coronavirus, we have not been given a spirit of fear. For those of us who understand Bible prophecy, we are warned about the potential spread of diseases and pandemics in the last days. But let's trust God in all things. And as more people think about their humanity and mortality these days, use the opportunity to share with them the hope of Jesus Christ and his salvation. Now, from D.C., let's go back to Washington State, where in this case, pro-life students were praying outside of an abortion business over the weekend during the 40 Days for Life nationwide protest, and abortion activists threw a glass vial of liquid at them. Attacks on the students included people driving by the group and yelling obscenities, displaying crude gestures, one woman flashing the kids while yelling, "My body, my choice," and check out this abortion supporter who pulled up in her car.
What did you say?
Satan is the one true Lord. Satan, the dark Lord.
Have a sweet we'll pray for you.
We don't need your prayers.
You do, hon. Have a good night.
Hail Satan. Wow. There have also been bomb threats in Minnesota, Washington, a death threat against Kristen Hawkins, Students for Life president. I know, how tolerant, right? Well, Hawkins said the violence and ugliness on behalf of pro-abortion advocates cannot be tolerated and police should step in. Quote, "Every day it seems like we hear of a new account of vandalism, threat of violence or acts of intimidation towards peaceful pro-lifers. This causes some of our volunteers to feel uneasy to sign up to pray for mothers and preborn children. We are only 11 days in, and we have already been bullied and threatened to the point where our volunteers are nervous. I love the fact Hawkins said they will not back down, and we shouldn't either, especially for something as basic as prayer, a constitutionally protected right. Also, their behavior really demonstrates how evil the abortion industry and its supporters can be. Finally, isn't it just a little ironic that the violence of abortion, which abruptly ends life in mothers' wombs, is celebrated by increasingly violent people? Keep praying, friends. The stakes have never been higher. God bless you, and keep speaking the truth about things that matter.